channel. This is Musically Me, and you are here for another video. So I know it's been a while. Your girl got a new job. I'm so happy. I'm really excited about just growing and all the opportunities that I will have for my own personal growth. Of course, I'll be expanding my resume and adding stuff like that, but really I feel like this career move is going to be really essential in developing some personal things. Uh, so yeah, very excited about that. I also mentioned that I will be moving soon. So it's September 5th, I believe. Yeah, today's September 5th. So the new place will be ready the 24th or 8th, one of those days, 24th or 28th. So I'll be in a new place. So yeah, moving and got a new job. So right now I'm going to talk to you all a little bit about why I don't want to say I don't date, but why dating has been difficult for me. So just a little bit of background. I'm 25. I've never been in a serious relationship. So this story time is going to be about my most recent, whatever you want to call it. And it's actually been a few months since this has happened. Like I said, I'm starting a new job, but the job that I was previously in, I was working for a drug testing lab. So I was working in a clinic and I was just doing drug testing. Basically, the drug screening that I was doing, it was just making sure that the patients who were getting medications through this clinic and this doctor were taking their medications and not mixing their medications. So this happened in March, I believe. So I was at work doing my thing, regular day, and this guy came in. He was sitting across the way from me. So the way that I was placed in the clinic, I was in this little ass room. It was almost like a broom closet. I would sit there, and then right across the hallway, there was another room where patients would sit and talk to the medical assistants, whatever. So he was sitting across the hall from me, and one of the medical assistants came in and told me that I needed to go ahead and get a urine sample from him to do the drug testing. So I went over there and I was just doing my thing, reading the script. And in the middle of it, he was like, he said, "Do you fraternize at work?" And then I was like, no. Cause I had this old ass man try to flirt with me one time, try to ask me for my number. I don't fraternize at work. So I was like, no, I don't fraternize at work. And so then he was like, okay. And then he asked me if I was single after he asked me if I fraternized at work, and I clearly told him no. And I was like, yeah, I'm single, whatever. So then he tells me that I'm beautiful or whatever, and he asked for my number. So keep in mind, I'm getting him to sign some paperwork, and I'm filling out his cup or whatever. So he's telling me all of this, and I'm nervous because, like I said, I've never seriously dated anyone, and even though I've never seriously dated anyone, and people who have approached me didn't even really have a chance, but this particular guy, he wasn't bad looking, he didn't smell weird. He was, a lot of the patients that came to this clinic, they were older, a little broken down, limping. He wasn't none of that. He smelled good. I could tell that he wasn't in my age group, but he wasn't no old ass man like the old man I told y'all about. He ended up being 37. So I was like, okay, I might, give him my number. So I was like, go ahead and do the sample, and I didn't even like go and write it down. So He goes into the restroom, and I went back to my place and processed a sample, and then, you know, I wrote my number down on a little sticky note, and I stuck it in my pocket because I had to take him back to his room so he could go and see the doctor. So he gets out, I get a sample, and I'm going around to take him back to his room, and he gets in the room, and he's like, so are you gonna give me your number? And I went in the room because them people, which is another reason why I'm glad that I'm leaving, well, I left that place, because them people was nosy, and I didn't want them in my business. So I went in the room with him and gave him my number that way. It was on a sticky note, remember? So that day goes by, and I'm expecting him maybe to text me, you know, after his appointment or anything, but the whole day goes by, and yeah. And I can't remember, I think it was a Wednesday. Yeah, I think it was a Wednesday. And the next day went by, or did it? It was either Thursday or Friday. He ended up texting me, and he was just like, hello, beautiful. This is so-and-so from the clinic, whatever. So we start texting, going back and forth. And, you know, I just asked him like basic questions like, how old are you? I already knew how old he was. I just wanted to see if he's gonna lie, because like I said, I had to process his sample so I can see pretty much all his information in the systems that we used. And first he said, oh, you know, I'm a little older, because like I said, I'm 25, he was 37. So he's like, oh, I'm a little older. But then like a couple text messages later, he ended up telling me that he's 37. And so we're going back and forth. In the conversation, it wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. I liked, what I did like was that he wasn't trying to turn it immediately sexual. I can say that the few days that we did have contact, he didn't try to make it weird or sexual. He would make comments like, you know, you're sexy or whatever, but it wasn't no, you know how dudes can get. Anyway, so I liked that. We were just like talking about, he did ask me where I live, and the way that I am, particularly with somebody that I just met, I'm not going to tell you specifically where I live. I just told him the area because he's familiar with the city we live in. So I just told him the area. He, on the other hand, told me the specific street that he lived on, which I think is kind of dangerous. But yeah, he was telling me that, and it was fine. Like I said, it wasn't great. He was by no means what I would consider to be an intellectual, but it wasn't a terrible conversation. And so later that night, because he had started texting me around 7, 8, and it was about 10. I'm an old ass lady. I like to go to bed. I ain't never been the type of person that want to stay on the phone with somebody for hours on end and sit up there and breathe on the phone with each other. No, we weren't on the phone. We were texting back and forth, but still, I'm old, okay? And I don't like all that. Okay, so it's about 10, and I told him, I was like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and go to bed now, but you can text me tomorrow or whenever. So the next day goes by, and I'm like, okay. You know, he was, he might still be working in the same place. He's a delivery driver for Amazon. So he, I figured out his off days were Wednesdays and Thursdays. That's why he had his appointment on a Wednesday. So the next day is, I think Friday or Saturday. And, he doesn't text me, even though I had told him the night before, you know, feel free to text me whenever. I'm just going to go to bed, you know. Next day goes by, doesn't say anything. Next day goes by, doesn't say anything. So it's like Tuesday or Wednesday the next week. And so finally I'm like, because I kept going back and forth with myself, like, should I hit him up now? Because it's not like I told him don't ever talk to me again or whatever. I just want to I wanted to go to bed. I wasn't saying, you know, I hate you or I don't want to speak to you. So I just don't know why like almost a whole week went by and no communication. And people have different opinions about hitting people up, texting back, or being the first to text or double texting, whatever. The way I decided to handle it, because I was not the person who initiated this whole thing. Like I said, I was at work minding my business. I felt like he should have been the one to kind of like keep up the contact until we got to a point where I was okay with texting him first. But at this point, we had only had one conversation. So you're the one who was interested. You need to hit me up. So he didn't. So I did end up hitting him up, and I was just like, I said something to the effect of, I haven't spoken to you in a while. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I just been busy, blah, blah, blah. Now, keep in mind, his off days are Wednesdays and Thursdays. So in my mind, I'm just like, so you only talk to people you're interested in on your off days? Like, I know you get breaks at Amazon. Maybe you don't. Because Jeff, that's a whole nother video, how he be treating them Amazon workers. But, okay. So that kind of threw me off. So I told you all, like, the pros was the conversation wasn't immediately sexual. It wasn't sexual at all. And it wasn't a terrible conversation. He's not a great conversationalist, but it wasn't terrible. And, you know, the cons were, like I just mentioned, he was too busy to text unless it was his day off. The second con was, in our first conversation, he did mention that he had a child, and he said she was 15, about to go on 16. Now, keep in mind, I am 25. I'm turning 26 in February of next year. So that wasn't, his daughter is now, since it's September, his daughter's now 16 years old. Before then, when she was 15, that wasn't even a solid decade between us. Now that she's 16, no. I'm sorry, I'm getting my ages mixed up. I'm about to be 26 next year. His daughter just now turned 16 in June. We only have a 9-year age. For me, it just, first of all, I don't want to date people with kids right now anyway, but the fact that your daughter is a teenager and you would have potentially, been dating a girl that wasn't even a solid decade older than your kid, it ain't sit right with me. So that was another con. And then the third con, which is what really made me be like, I'm good. He, in that first conversation, had asked me what my off days were, and I told him they were Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And he was like, that's all he said. That's all he asked me. So then, when I hit him up the week later, I asked him, what are his off days? Like I said, I already knew. But, you know, I want to see if you gonna lie or not. Like, whatever. And he said Wednesdays, Thursdays. Like, I already knew. So there was a scheduling conflict if we were trying to get to the dating stage. But what was concerning to me is, in our first conversation, you asked me what my off days were, like you wanted to plan something. But when I told you my off days, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, you didn't say anything else. So you just want to know my off days to know my off days? And I don't know if he worked graveyard shift or if it was just completely impossible for him to get any time on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays to potentially go on a date. But like, I didn't have any of that information, because after he asked me what my off days were, that was the end of conversation. So I had ended up asking him what his off days were the next week to try to, you know, prompt him into, come on now, like, what you trying to do here? Like, you want to see me? And I almost even had the idea, because I think I've shared with you all, yeah, it's in one of my Vlogmas videos. I told you all I like to go walking at a local park here, so it wouldn't even had to be like a real official date. I would have just told him, hey, come meet me at Iroquois Park. We can run, you know, walk around, because in the first conversation he did tell me that he regularly goes to the gym. So I'm like, okay, you are athletic, not athletic, but you're into fitness, I'm into fitness. Like, that would have been a nice little cool thing, not expensive, would just have been an hour, and we would have had the opportunity to talk and go back and forth. It's public, whatever. We didn't even get to that, because like I said, he asked me my schedule and then crickets. So yeah, so like I said, I had ended up texting him, and then the next day we were talking about nothing in particular, and then I was just thinking about it and thinking about it. Girl, this say my period about to come on. I know, girl, I know. I was just thinking about it and thinking about it. I was just like, no, I don't think I'm not going to entertain this anymore. I'm not a very picky person. Like I said, it's taken me a long time to even get to this stage with somebody, even giving somebody my number. So I won't say that I'm very picky, and I won't say that I'm, here's what I will say. I am very clear on what type of communicator I want to be with. It don't make no damn sense for you to ask me about my schedule and then not make an attempt to plan a date. It doesn't make sense that you wanted my number and then you would only hit me up on your days off. I know you get a break. I know you get a lunch break. Like, what you doing? What you doing? So next day I was at work. Like I said, we were texting about nothing. And then I was finally like, I don't think we should talk anymore because you just don't seem that interested. And that was that. Went on and blocked him. I am not the type of girl who will go back and forth and, oh, I think I can make it work, or, you know, I'm lonely and I just want somebody. No, I don't have to just accept anything. Like I said, it wasn't a terrible experience. It's just people be out here not knowing what they want and just vibes. But anyway, yeah, that is a little short story time. An interesting experience I had this year. Yeah, I am interested in dating. I am. I'm just not finna date anybody. So yeah, that's that. I thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe. I know that I am not consistent on here. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all and tell y'all that I'm going to be more consistent, because I'm probably not. But y'all got me for today. So I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.